We are back. It is a fantastic day in Chicago, and I'm here with Lauren and El Bird and a nice big echo, so somebody turn their phone down. And I just wanted to say, I'm feeling pretty good today. You know why? There
The
we go.
cloud has been lifted from over your head.
Praise God. The
Yeah.
cloud has been lifted from over our head. I didn't know how bad I felt till I woke up this morning and I started feeling better. And
Right.
sometimes you don't know how bad you feel until you're feeling better. Can I get an amen?
True.
All right. Well,
True.
welcome everybody. Vintage House. It is inauguration day in the United States. It's a day of celebration. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm feeling pretty good. Lauren, how you feeling?
Oh my God. Oh my God. When the knee is lifted off your neck, okay, you just don't know how you can flourish. But I will tell you that I was afraid for their lives all day. It was a lot of people with guns, and you
Yeah.
never know who is on your side, who's not on your side, certainly in America today. But luckily, democracy prevailed, and here we are to talk about it.
That's great. That's great. So I think I'm getting a little bit of echo from Vernell, so there's some kind of feedback we're getting from you. So let's see. There we go. That's a little bit better. But I want to say welcome to Gerald and Vernell. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening in 2021, and you guys are a big part of that. So we'll get to that. But first, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit of politics. What are you thinking? Do we have a reason to be hopeful? Are you nervous? I'd love to hear what you guys out there are thinking. What's up, Daryl? Daryl saying, "What's up, family?" Hey, Charles. What's up, Lee? Um, I know that I can't be alone in my enthusiasm, but I will say I was pretty nervous this morning. After what happened last week, or last 2 weeks, I was scared for the brother. I mean, I was like holding my breath, like, get down the stairs. Okay, now let's make sure, look around. I'm looking at the balconies. I'm like, oof. What's up, Carlos? Thanks for tuning in. So what did you think? Just love to hear your thoughts.
I couldn't sleep last night, and I didn't realize how generally upset I was and how anxious I was for this situation. But um, it has not been lost on me that what they were trying to do was straight up fascism, and you know we are lucky that we all came together and voted those people out, and that it went the way it did, because they've been wanting to act up since Barack Obama first took office.
Right.
They've been wanting the clown. So
Yeah.
this wasn't. There's a whole lot of people on TV talking about I'm shocked, and everybody I knew was like, we not shocked.
Yeah, no, I wasn't shocked, but I was scared because I don't think people really understand what it means to have a dictator. So these folks who are just were in love with this guy and, do or die, I'll give up my life for you. I don't think, I'm wondering like how some of them are feeling in county jail right now because they've had the comfort of sitting at home and cleaning their guns and with their TV dinners. And now you're like sitting up there with some brothers in county jail. I hope that that's going to change some hearts and minds.
And
I
he
hope that.
pardoned Kodak Black.
What'd you say?
His people sitting in jail, and he pardoned Kodak Black and Little Wayne.
Exactly. Yes, Walter, there is healing and change in the air, but I think we gotta have a little pain before people recognize the value of living in a free society. It's not fun having a dictator. Ask anybody in the third world country. You want to give up your life for a person, a personality? I don't want to spend too much time on that because we got a new day. We got Kamala Harris, vice president. What do you guys think about having a Black woman in that role? For now, go ahead. Let me unmute you. Uh-oh, you're muted.
Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it is great to have a Black woman in that role. I think it's really going to open the eyes of other young women to push forward, to do more things for the community. So it's really exciting. I just didn't like the part where people were bashing her at first when they first made the announcement. But such is life. So it's happened. Yeah. It's in the record books, and nothing you can do about it. So I know they're going to keep under a microscope and try to do checks and balances to make sure she's doing the right thing for the country. So You know, I think she's focused and she's got a head on her shoulders, and she's going to move forward and make us all proud.
Why do you think people were bashing her? Why were they bashing her?
I think it's because she was a prosecutor over in California, and whatever her belief was as a prosecutor really didn't sit well with the black community. So I think people are a little upset about how she did her job, and you know they figure or they think that she didn't help the black community. But you know, all I say is she did her job. If you don't commit crimes, you don't. That's something you don't have to worry about.
Right. Well, I mean, she did get a lot. She got a lot of flack. I don't think that's going to stop. I think it's going to continue to do that. So what does it mean? The question I have is, what does it mean for our community to have this woman in that role? Like, it means a lot, but I'm curious, especially for those who were hating on her in the beginning, what does it mean to have her in that role? Other than, go ahead.
It means it's one of us. It's like it's somebody that we could recognize as far as the tone of our skin. We have a voice that can make some change and get some things rolling. So, you know, because they try to throw Barack under the bus and say he didn't do anything for black people. So, you know, I just think that it's really something great for us. You know, I'm really happy and proud of her and happy for her.
Arthur agrees with
you. You find yourself in a situation where, you know, as an aspirational figure, it's great. Young girls can now say that they can do. Black folks can say that they can do. There's no more first black, you know. But, you know, I live out here in the sticks with people that were true Trump fans. The guy across the street put one of them Trump flags up, and he said to me, you know, does my flag bother you? Well, first of all, the fact that you asked me tells me you know something's wrong. But secondly, I said, well, you know, truth be told, it's far removed from me. I didn't get rich under Barack. He didn't call and say, hey, we sending money to every black man. And I didn't get poor under Trump. But things were tougher. Yeah. Things were a little tight, you know, a little weird, you know. And so I think that what we're going to see is there won't be that institutional backing for the white supremacy and the white anger. They won't be able to lean on somebody in power.
Right.
But they will survive. They will continue. White supremacy clearly is out in the open. It has not disappeared. Because they don't have Trump does not mean they're not emboldened to, again, want to take over the government. I mean, Trump has been silenced on the short term, but he is not going to disappear. And again, you recognize now your neighbors are racist. They don't want you to be in this country. They don't want to support anything that you do. You know, how we operate in the world now should be very different. People want the nation to come together, but no one's discussing the race issue here that is so prevalent and so pervasive in our lives, in their lives. They're thinking about us day and night and upset that we're moving forward. And it's not just the people in the sticks. It's our politicians who represent the majority of America. It's our Olympic, you know, athletes. It's our athletes. It's our, you know, it's our everyone. There's so many people who are actual racists now. And if we can't say the country can come together and they're not emboldened, if we don't talk about how we tell these people that being a racist in America is unacceptable and they should be punished for these things that they're doing covertly and overtly to Black America. And again, these are CEOs of companies who are crashing into the Capitol. Do you think they're hiring them? Do you think they're making their lives better, Black people's lives better? I mean, we're in real trouble here. Half the country does not like Black people, and it's all about the Confederate flag and Black people. That's what they're emboldened by.
So I think it's a good teaching moment for us to teach our kids. People should be teaching their kids about this right now and sharing stories, and you know, because they don't teach Black history. We're right up on the Black History Month right now. So I think we really need to use this as a mechanism to teach our kids. So, yeah.
But don't you? I'm sorry, Lord. Go ahead.
I just had a question about this. You know, this is not a new concept, white supremacy. The country was founded on white supremacy. You know, this idea that one group of people should rule another group of people. And the backlash for Obama is no different than backlash from other times that we've had progress throughout the history of this country. You're always going to have a backlash. But I'm wondering about this. I said to Simone today, I hate that people lost their lives. I hate that people lost their lives during this horrible incident at the Capitol. But I'm wondering if it woke some people up. If we actually kind of needed something like that to happen, to allow Americans to see this is what you're talking about. This is what white supremacy really looks like.
Right.
And this was
This
just
is where it's gonna go.
small taste of it. White supremacy killed 700,000 people in the Civil War.
Wow.
Most of whom, 99.9% of them, who were never going to benefit from slavery anyway. They were only benefiting from white supremacy. So, this is just a little taste of it. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I think
I know exactly. I have the answer to defeating white supremacy. Immediately, every state should mandate that young people are taught Black history. Now, it should be a part of American history, but somehow every state is not teaching Black. It's not mandatory that you have credits that suggest that you're taking Black history. And I don't mean high school. I mean very early on, civil rights history, Black history should be a part of the normal curriculum. Of course, it's critical who's teaching it and how they're teaching it, but at least they know this is the history of racism in this country. This is how the Constitution made sure that Black people were disenfranchised from the beginning of its founding. That's how you teach from the smallest amount of, again, that's the smallest amount you could do, is make sure that every young person every year while they're in school is teaching civil rights history, Black history. Then parents need to teach their kids history. Your own Black history. I had very smart parents, master's degrees, and they didn't teach me any Black history. So I know people who don't know anything are not teaching their kids Black history. They're not taking them to marches. They're not showing YouTube videos of, Black history. So if parents are not teaching it and we're depending on the schools to teach it, we'll never learn it. And we continue to repeat the same things that happen.
Leonard is saying we got to teach our own children about it, stop relying on the schools. But don't the schools, Leonard, have a responsibility to teach real history, Black history, white history? Let's talk about what really happened, in this country. Like, that's what it's all about. Black history is great. It's nice that we have a month. But I think the schools are responsible to teach the real deal. Do you want to say?
Well, it's just, it's not lost on me that this also lays into our musical history in how they take our music in all different forms and run away with it. Recently on our show, we were talking to somebody about the fact that, the top paid house or electronic dance musician, producers are white folks. And we know that it all came from where it came from. And, this is nothing new here. This is another demonstration of what it is that has been plaguing us for years, which is we do the work and they take the profit.
Right. Greg Winfield, thanks for watching. Yeah, Black History is the shortest month, the shortest month of the year. That's probably by design, which is why I think, Black history has to be American history. American history, like the only uniquely thing about America really is indigenous people who lived here before us and Black people, who created the culture that we all enjoy. So I might get in trouble for that one, but I feel about it. I mean, think about American music. What is American music? It's Black music, right? And I promise you, we're going to make a leap to what the show is all about. But I felt compelled to talk about this. Lauren, you want to say something?
It's 2021, and I think we're all affected. Our music is affected by history and racism. Today is a new day in Chicago. We have to talk about these things because it doesn't not affect us. And again, it even affects our music and where we're played and who they say created it and who's making the billions on dance music, who are not at all look like the people who created it. So we have to talk about that. And again, with most of our listeners, I think I do agree that you can't depend on the schools to teach history, but they should have the mandate to teach Black history. You're right. Depending on who's teaching it, you never know where it's going to go. But at least there is some civil rights history. There should be a curriculum that is vetted by, national scholars who say this is what you're going to have to teach and do not deviate from that. But again, in states, they don't even want you to teach. They didn't even want you to teach sort of any kind of ethnic history. I think Arizona right now said you couldn't teach anything, that just suggested you had some Latino or some Black or some Native history in them. So we have to do that. Then we have to teach our own kids. But if you don't have a curriculum, if you don't know what you're teaching, you also could be steering your kids in the point of a Eurocentric point of view as opposed to an Afrocentric point of view. Right. So we all need to come up with something where our churches are not just teaching it. We're not talking about socioeconomic issues. We're talking simply history, the history of Black people before coming to this country, 1619, and afterwards, the facts. And that's it. But we all need the right curriculum. So we're teaching our kids the right thing. So they're empowered, they feel unified, and they feel a part of, what we built here in America.
Yes, yes.
Well, I know we are talking about house music, but I got about a quarter of me, if not a little bit more, is hip hop. And I got to say that, I long for the days back when Public Enemy and some of those other more conscientious rappers were giving us our history through our entertainment. KRS-One, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm listening to idiots mumble about killing each other. And so that's what our young people are learning. We need to build that history. The history of our people needs to be a part of our entertainment. It needs to be a part of our life, not who can shoot each other the quickest. That don't make no sense to me.
I agree. All right, we want to make the leap. Thank you guys for having that conversation. It doesn't stop. We have hopefully a really great 4 years in front of us, but I think that the way that we're going to ensure that we have 4 years in front of us is if we be part of that solution. So, I think that one of the challenges we had with Obama's administration is, especially by the second time around, and I'm guilty of it, the first time out, I was canvassing, I was driving people places, I was doing all kinds of stuff. And then, you get a little complacent. You think, wow, we're on the right track. I can just kind of ride this train for a while. I think we learned that we can't sit down. You cannot rest on your laurels. You can't rest on what happens, because when you do, what just happened for the last 4 years can happen again. And there's so much damage that was done in those 4 years. And I've talked to many people about this, but if you just look at the federal judges that were appointed, not one Black person in the last 4 years, and the power that those federal judges have. So it's important for us. I'm wearing this cap for a reason. This is Hannah Nicole Jones, 1619 project, which is amazing. And if you haven't read it, seen it, just done any part of it, there's lots of ways to engage it. There's a podcast about it, but please do look it up, 1619. It is definitely the absolute antithesis of the 7075 project that these fools have created. So don't read that.
And by the way, they have a section about music that you all would love.
Yes.
She's talking about the raping of our Black music and, how it has been from every genre, from gospel to jazz to blues to hip hop. I mean, how other people benefit from the work and the creativity that we've created. So it's a must read, it's a must listen to, and it's a powerful piece.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to share something. Today happens to be the anniversary of Jesse Saunders' first hit, and Vince Lawrence's first hit that we consider one of, if not the first house music records, definitely the first house music record that was printed. So I just want to give a big shout out to Jesse. Jesse, we're going to play that in a little bit. We'll probably go out, take the show out on your track. So hopefully you're still watching, but congratulations on that. And with that, let's make a leap talking about, music, which is what we're always talking about. So let's see. Somebody else, Lorna said, Leonard Carolina is not part of 1619. Black Americans are. Okay. Well, all the more reason to investigate it, Leonard. Everybody, we can have a Vintage House book club on another day, or for a different podcast. Who wants to do a Vintage House book club, podcast club? Speaking of podcasts, go ahead. Would you like that, Lauren? All right. Well, listen, thanks everybody. Miko, thanks for tuning in. Dante, I appreciate your contributions. So I have invited our two wonderful guests, Vernell Bird and Gerald Lott, who are here to tell us a little bit about a project that we're doing. But before we get into that, I want to ask Lauren to sort of just bring everybody up to speed on what Vintage House is up to for 2021. 2020 was a great year, but we got a lot more planned. So let us know, Lauren.
First of all, I'm very proud of the way we pivoted for 2020. We've been going to the studio for years. We've always been on Facebook Live, but now having to take everything digital, we did not miss a week at all. We immediately went to digital, threw it out there, starting out with Kendall Lloyd in April and saying, hey, let's start the show. Let's get it done. And so I'm really proud of all of us for pivoting the way we did. And 2021 was a tough year. We had a lot of interesting subjects. We had a lot of great, fantastic guests. We learned a lot. We mentored, and we're continuing to mentor at the Vintage House Show. We've got the Spotlight Show, which debuted a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of the year. We're doing what we should be doing and bringing the next generation of DJs to the forefront. And not just the next generation of DJs, but those people who have been playing house music and loving house music for 30, 40 years. They just, life came at them and they didn't pursue it as a career, but they spend all the time. We're going to give them the spotlight every night after our show, right after our show, and hoping that people pick them up and listen to them and check them out 10 o'clock every night at the Spotlight. We continue to collaborate with the Chicago Black Social Culture Map, and they are going to just do some phenomenal things this year. We're going to have some great talks. We're going to bring in some great subject matter and great people to talk to. And we've got this fantastic map. I forget the website now, but just Google the Chicago Black Social Culture Map.
I'll put it in the post so that you guys can see that. But this is unlike anything you've ever seen before. I mean,
if you love house music,
is the history of Black music in Chicago on a map. So if you're curious about like where it all started and where was that playground and where was the loft and the music box, part 1 or part 2, and the warehouse, part 1 or part 2, all of that is laid out in this map and with vivid detail. So I will put the post up there, but look up Chicago Black Social Culture Map and you will find it. You can Google it.
And yeah, I'll share it on the Vintage House Show site and also the Dance Music Foundation site. So we're really proud of that partnership and the continued scholarship so that people can continue to write and discuss and really be knowledgeable globally about Chicago's contributions to music in general. And it's been a tough year, Lori. We again our condolences are with you with the loss of your father this year. I know that it brings a new sort of perspective on you and your family's world. And
absolutely.
So we are still continuing to pray for you and your family, given that loss. But we know we will all rebound and we will all continue to keep him alive in our hearts and what we do. And that's the great thing about it. They never leave you. So you're always thinking about them and they're always thinking about you. And you know that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks to everybody who sent me condolences and loss of my dad, Charles Otis Branch. He was a hero to a lot of people. This is a guy who was on the beaches of Normandy in World War II, D-Day +2. He was one of those guys that you've seen in the movies, dodging bullets. And they made the Black people dodge the bullets and then clean up everything. So, he was dodging bullets and shooting. And then the next day, they're like, now bury all these dead people. And, so it was very tough for Black people during the war, but he survived it and went on to do many, many great things. So, yeah, I love my dad and I love you all for reaching out to me. It means so much to have a community that's so supportive and loving and giving. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. So I want to skip over to my brother, unless you have something else to say, Lauren.
Well, I just want to say again, this is a year of collaboration. I mean, the
Yes.
Dance Music Foundation is a collaborative effort to preserve the history of dance music. And so however we can support that, that is what we do. Check us out on dancemusicfoundation.org, and you'll understand our partners and what our efforts are. And today, and what we're talking about today is exactly what we mean by collaboration and support. So we've got the Bird's Nest here, Lori Branch, we've got Vernell, we've got Gerald here. Man, can't wait for 2021, guys. Lori, take it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to start with Vernell because Vernell and I, we met each other just a few years ago when I was doing a party with one of his buddies up here on the north side. And we just had, you know how you meet someone and you just kind of have chemistry, like, you know, friendship chemistry. And it was like, we liked each other. Came on my show a couple of times. Then I went on his show and we are like, you know, we eventually got to do more stuff together.
Yeah.
Doing some really great things. So intro, Vernell, you know, give us 2 seconds for anyone in the world who may not know who you are. Just 2 seconds of who Vernell Byrd is and tell us a little bit about the Bird's Nest.
Vernell Byrd is a fun-loving guy that just really want to have a great time, make people smile, work hard, take care of my family. You know, it's been really tough for me the last few months. I had a stroke in June, but I'm doing a lot better
Oh my
than I was
God.
doing before. So yeah, you know, and I appreciate everybody sending me calls and prayers to, you know, wish me along to get back strong. So it's been really tough, but you know, we're gonna see it through and make it happen this year.
That's right. I know we are. So talk a little bit about the Bird's Nest. I think folks, you know, you started this podcast a little bit ago, and I think it was you and Gerald. So maybe Gerald, why don't you come in and tell us a little bit about where the idea came from? And for those who are not tuned into podcasts, why is it important?
Okay. So I have been promoting a house music happy hour event in the South Loop. And Vernell was our lead DJ and music director. By the way, I'm watching all these people that are leaving comments, and half of them family. So hey, family. But and Vernell just had such a infectious personality, and people were loving him, and just, I mean, coming out of the woodwork for him. And he also had this thing where he was doing where he was inviting DJs over to the house to spin, and they were just kicking it and Facebook streaming it. And I'm watching and I'm seeing the numbers of people. He's getting hundreds of people watching them mix. And I was like, Vernell, we got to do something with this. And so we realized that, you know, we had an opportunity to go a little bit further, because we knew that eventually Facebook and those things were going to shut down just you mixing other people's music. But we said, well, why don't we, you know, talk to these DJs? Let's find out what's going on with them, where they're at, and start kind of just cataloging these interviews. And so that's what it was. Originally, it was supposed to be tag team mixes with Vernell, but that got to be a little difficult to do. And so we moved into a different direction, and now we've moved into a third direction, which we'll discuss in a moment. But that's kind of the history.
Well, let's talk about it. You guys are doing something unique. I love the Bird's Nest. Vintage House has a podcast too, and it's interesting because the cool thing about podcasts is that you can listen to them in your car. A little less driving going on in the last year, people staying at home. But I listen to them all day long. I am a podcast junkie. And I can tell you there are so many great things that are being created on a daily basis around the world. And it's a great way.
You can learn about anything. If you want to learn something, it is amazing what you can learn.
That's how I learned about Hong Kong. Like, I never knew about Hong Kong until I listened to Throughline. And I was like, wow, they had a really rough, you understand why the rioting is going on? Really great story there. Throughline's one of my favorites. I got so many favorites. Post your favorite podcasts, and so we can share them with everybody. So let's talk about the Bird's Nest podcast. There's something different about what you're doing now. You were interviewing people, tell a little bit about their story, my history in house music, in Chicago house music, and then you play a mix, which is great. Now we're going more in depth, and you have these fantastic co-hosts from what I understand. So let's, Vernell, tell us more about that.
So we actually hired a research guy and he's the author as well. His name is Jason Regan, and he kind of like takes our subjects and he do a deep dive into them to get a lot of factual information that we use in our show. So that's the beauty of it. I think that's one of the big things that we do is we're trying to dig deep, dig to the root of a lot of things in the house music to give people good information on what happened in the past or what's going on now.
And it's done in a format such that it's like investigative reporting. So instead of one person talking about themselves for 45 minutes, and we love to do that, it's people talking about that person or that entity or that movement. And you, Gerald, tell us a little bit about this first series, because it's a 4-part series.
Right. It's we're looking into how WBMX and the Hot Mix 5 impacted Chicago and house music as a whole. You know, speaking along the lines of what you're saying, you know, our goal is to kind of be the This American Life of house music. I mean, everybody's doing 2 DJs sitting around talking about what parties they used to go to. So we're trying to, you know, just take it one step deeper. You know, you have people get on Facebook or something, and they'll say, you know, I was at the first party where a DJ mixed a record, and then there's like 10,000, you know, comments. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. No. Well, we're going to try to dig into some of those things and kind of see, you know, what's really there, because a lot of it's becoming mythology now. You know, it's getting lost in the stories, and you know, and we don't know. And the scary part is we getting older. You know, some of us aren't going to be able to tell these stories much longer. And I would like to document them. I've been around house. I've been in the shadow of these guys that I've looked up to. You know, you mentioned Jesse. I worked for Vince Lawrence for 15 years or so. You know, these are guys that are you know, heroes to me. And I just want to make sure that we do the best we can to tell their stories.
Talk a little bit about that first. So I was joking about your illustrious co-host. I've been fortunate to work with these gentlemen to actually help with the investigative series part, because that really interests me. I love shows like This American Life and multi-part series like the series on Obama and the series on Rod Blagojevich. That was interesting. You know, like WBZ does, lots of places do these multi-part series. But talk about, you know, what is it, you know, give people a snapshot of what we uncovered in the first one. And I'm happy to chime in there because I learned a lot myself.
You know, the cool thing was that there's so many people that knew stuff and we didn't really know that we knew it, you know? So we hired this research guy from outside of Chicago. He's from North Carolina. He has nothing to do with house. We did that for a purpose. We wanted him to be ignorant of the sacred cows. You know, we didn't want him to not ask somebody something because, you know, you don't ask so-and-so about, you know, his ex-wife or something. We want him to just go in there and say it. But then as he gave his information, it started to resonate with the remembrances of us and our crew, including Lori. And, you know, what we found out is it really came from WDAI, you know, and I've been interested in how many times WDAI has come up in the conversation. We've now had 7 or 8 different people as guests, and that always comes up, you know, but we don't hear a lot of discussion about that. You know, it was interesting to talk to Lee Michaels and find out why he came up with the chemistry that he did. And then we also talked to some current DJs and asked them how they were impacted by the Hot Mix 5. You know, cats are throwing out record stores that I had forgotten all about. And we end up, you know, talking about imports, etc. And we talk about, you know, how you could go in there and Lil Louis had a pick on the wall and you could, you know, get Lil Lewis's latest pick, which then makes me start thinking of, you know, spots up north like Coconut and AKAs and all that. And, you know, it's just such a walk down memory lane. So I've talked too much. I'll shut up. Bye.
No, I think it's really important. So that's just a smattering of what you'll hear if you tune into to the new podcast. It's the Bird's Nest. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. And the first series is about the Hot Mix 5 and WBMX, and we have some really great guests that are a part of it. Lee Michaels, who was kind of the mastermind behind it. We spent a lot of time talking to him, and he gives us some really great insights as to like what happens in radio. And I really appreciated talking to Lee because we have a lot of theories about sort of why house music did not soar in the way that hip hop did, for example, on Chicago radio. So we had this period, during the WBMX days and a little bit of WGCI. Herb Kent had a little show, and of course, the beginning with Disco DAI. But then, by the late 80s, you weren't hearing that. It certainly became kind of a genre of older people, where in other places it was flourishing. So Lee Michaels gives us some insight as to sort of why that happened here in Chicago and really across the United States. So I just highly encourage everybody to check it out. Go to wherever you get your podcast from, and you can do it. I still haven't seen any recommended podcasts, so let us know where you have.
I put one up in the notes, but let me, the interesting thing that I found with that Lee Michaels was when you and he were talking about, you said something about the choppy mixing, how they were coming in and out so quick. And he said, well, in radio, you're thinking about a guy driving from the South Side to downtown, and you want to get him 9 different songs in that. Mm-hmm. It really, that struck me. I was like, wow, I hadn't really thought of that, how that style of mixing had come about due to those radio parameters.
Well, it actually changed. It changed the way that we thought about house music. It really did, because I mean, that's why I say I remember feeling like I'd learned a lot just from that discussion, because we thought, people who were hot mixing were just like, what are they doing? Well, they were imitating what they heard on the radio, except mm-hmm. now that was what was driving the parties. So it was nice. We'd like to have these, 20-minute songs and the disco version of the 12 inches. It's, you want to hear Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I got to hear all the way to the end, because that's when it gets really good. And we were into that. But like New School was like, no, why are you playing it so long? And so it did create this kind of bifurcated, movement within the house community, where you had folks who were more purists, and they weren't necessarily older. They were just people who liked the underground feel, like when you go to a party and you are lulled into a trance by a song that might be 10, 12 minutes long, versus those who got their exposure to house music on the radio, right? So there's the underground club people. That's where they got their exposure, and they heard the radio, and some liked it, some didn't. And then you have these other folks, who heard house music the first time from the radio. And that was their understanding of it, was that it's supposed to be fast. You're supposed to go in and out. You don't hold a song for 10, 12 minutes. You cut it off and you sort of bring something else in. So I
remember going and buying the Charlie Kaleo Sing, Sing, Sing and taking it home. And being so disappointed that the drum solo wasn't like 20 minutes long, because I heard it in hours. I thought the whole song was the drum solo.
Yeah, exactly. So Jesse, we talk a little bit about Frankie trying out for the original Hot Mix 5, and what was interesting was he did do some inviting specific DJs, and Frankie was one of those. Frankie was not. That was not his style, though. I mean, if you listen to a Hot Mix 5 and you're a fan of Frankie Knuckles, you're going to be disappointed if he's going in and out of a song in like 3 minutes. That just wasn't who he was. And I think that, it was a whole different thing. I don't want to give away everything, because I want you to like listen to the podcast. So go ahead and check it out. Vernell, why don't you talk a little bit more about like what are we thinking as we move forward? I know that the Bird's Nest. Well, first of all, I want to talk about your parties, because you had some amazing parties. One of the last parties that we did, was what was happening down at the M Lounge. Can you talk a little bit about what was going on there? You were supposed to be doing a big party. I don't know if it was the cat was out of the bag, but tell us what happened last year. How you want to pick that up for this year?
So I know that we were.
You muted again.
Trying to do was to have an event called the Bird's Nest Honors, where we honor everybody that was a guest on the podcast for that short period of time that it was rolling. But COVID hit, and then that was it. So it just really crushed my little dream. And, I got to thank Gerald and River Rock Entertainment because they took something that was a dream of mine and turned it into a reality. So the M Lounge was a small venue, but we had some great parties in there. Lori, you was there. We invited you a couple of times to come down and play, and we really appreciated you. And I would do anything for some of those nights back.
Me too. You never miss it till it's gone.
Right.
Honestly, I had a very busy first few months last year, 2020. I was like, I'm just going to play everywhere, and I was doing that. I went to New Jersey, and then I played with Vernell, and then I started doing stuff with DJ Lady D. And VD Girl. Like I was busy every week, and I'm like, it's gonna be a great year. And the last great party was like the first week in March, and they were like, shut it down. And I'm like, no, of all years. So I am really eager to get back on the dance floor. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm ready to put on a mask and just do it.
No. I'm trying to understand why I was not thanked. I was probably at 3 out of every 4 months events partying in front of the DJ, straight kicking it at the M Lounge. So I don't know how I'm not the first person to be like, Lauren, thank you for coming to all of those straight up tight parties. You got the party going. I mean, I made my own, dance floor and made other people come and hang with me. I remember that one time we had a good time. We had a good time last year. I just remember partying.
I know M Lounge was the bomb, and I think it works for our crowd. And when I say our crowd, I'm talking about people like me, but also for younger people. I invited a lot of young people and great cross-section populations because you had sort of your groove crew just from the community, right? Because it's kind of a neighborhood place, but it had a great vibe. So I'm hoping that we can resume that. Did they close? Unfortunately,
they are closed. Yes.
Yeah.
Are they closed for now?
Yeah. Yes, they are. Right now, they're closed. Yep.
Well, we miss M Lounge. We appreciated the space, and we'll make it happen.
The beauty of that space was that it didn't take many people to fill it up, and make it feel like something. And hopefully we can find another spot like that. And then that time period, that 5 to 10. I mean, at our age, nobody trying to stay out till 2, 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Jesse, let Jesse know we're gonna reach out to him to get him as a guest on the podcast.
Jesse, we're talking to you, Lauren. He just told you were too short. That's why nobody could see.
That is so rude. That is so rude.
Gosh. Jesse.
Happy New Year, Jesse. Happy 2021.
We love you anyway. And Charles, crushed yours too. He's ready to bring it to the M Lounge. Okay, I'm with you, brother. I am with you. All right, so back to BMX. Let's talk about, yes, we will find another one. Let's talk about what's next for your program, because I think it's important to give people a teaser. We don't want to give away too much. There's 2 episodes that are out now. There are 2 more coming. So there's one that's released every week.
Every other week. All right. So I love that. It's going to stretch it out. So we have lots of time to catch up on those that you haven't heard. But what else can people look forward to? So what's going to happen is we're going to do an investigative series like we're doing a 4 series once a quarter. And then you'll have a couple where it'll just be Vernell kind of hanging with one person and taking it where it goes. So that might be the kind of thing where we reach out to a Jesse or a Vince or somebody like that and just have them, kind of tell us the story of house from their point of view. Our next one, I think we're going to try to look into who actually was the first house music song. Was it, was it the guy that said, I'm writing a song that's house music, or was it a song that had the characteristics of house music, which means then we got to dig into what are the characteristics of house music. So we're gonna try to take it as deep as we possibly can. You see Lauren like salivate. She's ready to get into that one. So we have our one researcher that's in North Carolina, completely don't know nothing. He's just asking questions. And then we have our other researcher, Miss Lauren Lowry, who is in on the inside of everything, and she can get us the good stuff. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to where it all goes.
That's great. I was trying to play Jesse's song. Could you hear it in the background a little bit? No. Okay. I'll try to take us out with it. But before we get out of here, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. We have so many great things happening in 2021. Jay McCauley, all the way from Australia, is going to be one of our guests. So we're going to get some voices about Chicago from outside of Chicago, all the way across the world. So thanks for tuning in, Jay. We have some New York folks. We're going to talk about Chicago music, but from an outsider's perspective, but also from people who were from here. So one of my good girlfriends, Honey Dijon, is going to be on the show, hopefully in the next few weeks. I got to confirm the date with her. And if you don't know who she is, look her up because you should, because she is from Chicago. She's born and bred here and was brought up in Chicago house music, and then has made such an impact around the world, influencing so many people. Her friends, many of her friends are going to be on the show too, but we're going to feature some local folks who are making it happen. So stay tuned. We've got a really great year planned for everybody. And if
we're going to have folks from, we're going to have folks, sorry, Lori, we're going to have folks who are from Chicago, but currently in Berlin, currently living around the world, living in Africa. So we're going to be bringing in some real, some interesting Chicago stories, which is, I do like sort of where that is going to go. That's going to be really impactful.
Absolutely.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, please.
We're not leaving, Lori, because we have to stay on until the spotlight comes on.
I'm giving it to my brother here.
People of Chicago, whenever somebody says they know hip hop, they feel like they need to know New York. We need people that are in the EDM to know that if you can't know house music if you don't know Chicago. You know what I'm saying? We started this. So that's hugely important.
I think with your podcast and other podcasts and the Chicago Black Social Culture Map, we're going to make that, something that the globe will know and understand. We really need to do our part to share that history in a unique way. And I applaud Jesse. He has a great show where he's bringing on people from, all over the United States and the world to talk about their contributions as well. But I think everyone has a great sort of point of view on making people understand how important Chicago is.
Can you hear my boy Jesse now? I can't get my thing to work. All right, Jesse, we're going to get it to work. But anyway, I celebrate you with On and On. That was a major, major accomplishment. It helped to put us on the map. And we appreciate all of your contributions. And I want to give it up to Jesse, who's also written an amazing book in their own words. So
2 books. He says 3, but we know of 2.
2 books.
Hell yeah, he's got 2.
I think the third one is coming. So
I thought he was on sabbatical.
You thought he was on what?
I thought he was on sabbatical. I thought he was taking a book break.
Jesse, I thought you were on sabbatical too. So anyway, we have a couple more folks that are coming up. Tell us a little bit more about what we can anticipate. Now, this Corky Tracksmith, this is for you. There's a reason that Lauren is doing what she's doing, because we've been hearing you talk to us. What does Corky keep saying to us?
First of all, you had 2 great shows about passing the baton and who we are mentoring. And that is across the board. And, that impacted me, and it impacted our digital media manager, who's a young millennial. I don't even know what that's called. He's not even a millennial. But, again, if house music is to flourish, how are we supporting the young people who are moving forward? I like to use the example of, Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper at all times has given love to Kanye West because he mentored him. And if we have more young people being mentored, then the pioneers continue to get love, because those people who you're mentoring will be mentioning you on BBC and mentioning you in Africa and, with all these different people. So I feel like we have to do that more. And I said, well, how can we say people should be passing the mic if we're not doing it ourselves? This is Vintage House, so we do a lot of talking about the past, but we can also mentor young people. And we were very lucky to meet what a great DJ Beatty Girl, also a young, less than millennial. I think what's the term for under?
Just say 20 something.
Yeah, the 20 somethings. Yeah, there's so many words and so many phrases. But we're so lucky to meet her, and what a powerhouse DJ she is. She's actually unbelievable. I mean, we don't even realize that. We couldn't believe that she could spin the way she could spin. It's almost like out of body. And we're like, well, we should be supporting young people like her. And then you and Lady D got together with her, and we're like, how can we do that more? How can we bring other people into the spotlight so people
Absolutely.
like Vernell and Gerald can throw them on as they're promoting events and creating things for people to spin at? Maybe you can
want the young people to participate.
Yes.
Generation Z. JB said it's Generation Z.
Gen Z. Thank you.
I have to ask my 12-year-old because the 20-something-year-olds are old to her now. She's like, well, that's old, Mom. I'm like, I don't know what you consider me if you think 20-something is old, child.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. What other, I'm just curious about any other, do you all make resolutions for 2021? What are you all, what are you really looking forward to personally, career-wise? What's 2021 going to look like for you guys, for all of you?
Sorry, Vernell, I cut you off. There you go.
That's all I want. I just want to be healthy.
Health is right. Health is right. Health is our birthright. So I'm with you. I let's stay healthy. One of the things that happened in 2020 is a lot of us ate too much.
Yeah.
Lori, you are.
Girl, I'm sitting down. Okay? Don't have me stand up and turn around.
I'm on a crash diet right now. I'm on a serious crash diet. I will be sweet by March.
I have a lot of junk in the trunk, and not in a good way.
Gerald, what are your 2021 resolution or goals?
I'm just trying to follow God, man, and see where He takes me, because this has been a hell of a ride. It's been a hell of a ride, and I believe that this thing that I'm doing with Vernell and a couple other things that I'm doing, I'm finally at the age where I can do the things that I love and that I want to do versus what I have to do. Mm-hmm. And that's a blessing. It's a true blessing. And
amen.
And definitely this music is part of that.
Amen. It's a spiritual journey.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
House music is a spiritual journey.
It is for sure. It is.
By the way, can I mention that, Lauren, you were telling stories on when we interviewed you on the podcast, and I'm getting all sorts of people that have been sending in messages about how much they liked your stories and how you brought the 80s back to life for them.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. That's good to know. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be able to tell stories like that. I will tell you that I love this show. I think it's great. I don't really like hosting the show. I don't really like to be on it because, you have to look good. That's all. It's just very difficult. I loved the radio station. It was perfect. No one could see me. It's fantastic. So I don't always get to tell stories, but, I love house music. I was born with house music, so I'm just in love with it across the board. So I really am happy to be able to share my small story about house music, my house life.
Well, we got lots more stories to share, so I want to thank everybody who's tuned in tonight. We're here every Wednesday. I just patched in Quantified, who I think is our spotlight DJ for today. So welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
Where are our hosts?
Where are our hosts? I don't know.
Where are our hosts? They're supposed to be on, I guess, 9:55. They're told to jump in.
Here's Vita Girl. What's happening?
Hey, everyone. How are we doing?
Hi there.
We were just talking about you. I don't know if your ears were.
Well, I like being talked about most of the time. How's everyone doing? Hey, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Seriously. Yeah, it's really great. Even virtually is great with me.
Yeah.
So tell us what we can what's about to happen, Vita Girl.
Yeah, so we are really excited to have DJ Quantify on here tonight. We actually both share a mentor, Toad, who's one of the greatest guys. And
Awesome.
so I read a little bit about you, that you have roots from Europe, but you're a house head guy, and you've kind of really grown your DJ career over the last 2 years. And much like me, we're really enjoying kind of breaking out on the scene before COVID happened. So we're super excited to have you here tonight to kind of show off your unique style, DJ Quantify. It's great to meet you.
Awesome. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. So I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome.
So I know we're going to be switching to Twitch. Lauren, tell us how we're doing this. And
yeah, we're going to switch over to Twitch. We've got a DJ Quantify live set that's going to go live on our Twitch channel, which is Dance Music Foundation. So go to Twitch at Dance Music Foundation after we log off. I'm going to log off now because I've got to boot it up. But you all keep going in the show. Where's Justin? Where is our other co-host? He disappeared.
He'll join you on Twitch.
Got it. All right, guys.
So how will our viewers know how to get onto Twitch?
Just go to twitch.tv and then search for Dance Music Foundation, or just go to twitch.tv at Dance Music Foundation, and you will see it very shortly.
Can we hear some of it now? Is that possible?
Ooh, I don't think. Well, you know what? He's got a setup. Are you ready to spin?
Yeah, I can play a little bit. It'll be coming through my earpieces, but sure.
Let's see if we can hear anything. The twitch.tv is where we're gonna. What's the other part of it, Lauren?
This Dance Music Foundation.
Okay. So go ahead and switch over to that. Thank you, Twitch, for not cutting us off. Appreciate you.
Exactly.
They'll cut you off later, but at least they
right. They'll give you a minute. Yeah.
Can you guys hear that?
I can hear it a little bit.
Hey.
Right, well, I'm gonna let you
turn it up a little bit.
Let them run for about 3 minutes, and then we're gonna then switch to Twitch.
So while you are warming us up, I just want us to give a special shout out, special thank you again to Gerald Locke, Vernell Bird, Bird's Nest. Thank you for being on the show today. I am so excited to collaborate with you guys on the series, the Bird's Nest podcast series. So pick up the Bird's Nest wherever you get your podcast, Vintage House, wherever you get your podcast. You can subscribe to our channel, Vintage House Podcast Series, where you essentially can hear this show, our previous shows. I think, Beatty Girl, you've got a podcast too, don't you? Maybe.
I'm always making things, audio things all the time.
Okay, cool beans. All right, so I think Justin is popped on. Hey, Justin. So listen, we're gonna sign off. Is there anything you guys want to say? Any last words before we say goodbye?
Right quick.
Yes.
Lori, thank you so much for being a part of what we got going on. I really want to thank Gerald again and River Rock for being on for making me a part of the team and pushing forward what we're pushing forward. And Hannah, we got to get you on as a guest on the podcast as well.
Oh, I would love that. That sounds like a blast. I'm down.
Okay. Because I had you lined up to play the M Lounge with me, but
I know, man.
That's all right. We're getting past COVID, and we'll all be partying together soon. And if not, y'all just double up your mask, get some N95s, and we'll do it anyway. That's what I'm thinking. Gerald, any last words?
All good. Just everybody have a great time and stay safe.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to invite everybody to turn over to Twitch TV, where you go to Dance Music Foundation, so you can hear from our special guest tonight, Quantify.
DJ Quantify.
DJ Quantify. All right, guys.
See you on Twitch, everyone.
I'm just saying that this is no longer a white supremacy. This is a Lori Brand. All right, guys, take care. Have a great week.
Yeah.